Hey everybody, welcome back to another Review Sunday. This time we're going to rank the 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy Army books. Now, I want to say something here because I know something that not everybody knows who we are. My name's Steve.
I'm Cullen.
That's Cullen. And we've been playing Fantasy for a lot of years, sometimes not accurately. But we love the game.
Isn't that Warhammer, though?
That's
Isn't that Warhammer?
one of the most convoluted games ever. The FAQ and the errata on the rulebook is as big as a phone book. But I know many of you are new to the game, coming in from Warhammer Total War.
Yes.
And I went and reviewed each and every one of these books at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to rank them from worst to best. Now, there's a few things we're going to cover as I rank them. One, I want to point out that I want to rate them in a competitive standpoint. And I have to explain what competitive means. If you watch any of the previous Army book reviews, you've already heard me explain this. Competitive from this rule book and the Army books in 8th edition. So no tournament comps. Now, for many of you, that doesn't mean anything to you because that's not a thing anymore. We're talking about back in the day when there were still tournaments many years ago.
Day.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of
played.
things that can comp things that changes what's good and what's bad in the book. Now, secondly, arbitrarily, we are choosing to omit all named characters from the book rankings.
It just makes things too difficult. They're so...
Well, the main reason for that is the next one. So, we're going to rank the books as a whole. Basically, what we think is the best book actually isn't the best list.
Right, yeah, so that's a big, I guess.
Every book can do, well, most books can do a really powerful list that is their best version. That's a whole separate ranking system. We're ranking these books as a whole. Just because you have the best possible list, we're ranking everything else in the book as a whole.
Yeah, so just because you have one really powerful unit or character or something doesn't mean that completely outweighs if the rest of your book is
And to be fair, I just realized that opens me up for another round of videos of maybe ranking the best list from all these books.
Oh, boy.
But then we have to make it. That's a lot of work. Maybe we'll think about it. So yeah, this is best book overall, worst to best. And most importantly, this is just our opinion.
I mean,
this doesn't mean this is the definitive best or worst. Like, this is our opinion. And our personal meta is tainted by the fact that we've been playing the same 3 guys for many years.
Oh, yeah.
And then some people from literally all over the world.
And there's also some books in here that we haven't played as much as others, but I think we're fairly familiar with.
Now, if your area, you have a really, really good Lizardmen player, your meta would rank that book higher than an area where your Lizardmen player isn't that good or you don't play them that often. So it's just our little home.
Our perception, at least.
Is there anything more of the preamble you want to cover about this? Are we ready to end there? I cover one more than.
I think we're just going to do this good old YouTube style and do a good old tier list.
Before that, though, I just want to point out, though, channel members are everything driving this whole endeavor. Not everybody can support financially. Totally understand that. But if you can, there's a link in the description below for joining. It just helps us. So it covers the cost of making all these videos. And secondly, not everybody can do that. There is something you can do that is actually super helpful, and I wish everybody would do this. And I'm guilty myself of not. But 40% of you are not subscribed, and you're watching these videos regularly. Subscribe; it's a huge help. And then comment and thumbs up the video if you like it at all. That is honestly it's a huge help. That being said, are we ready to tier rank these?
Oh yeah. So
we're doing it.
Boom.
Everybody else does it. We're doing it.
There's our tier list. So we've got all the books on the bottom, out of frame for you guys, but we know what order they go in.
Yeah, it's time. So okay, I think a bunch of you know what's gonna go in F tier.
Oh boy.
But we discussed which is the worst.
Like, when you talk about the worst, there's like 2 big armies I think that kind of come to your head right off the hop.
Now, this is pointed out because we have to explain why we think it is.
Because it is.
Beastmen.
The Beastmen. The Beast of Chaos.
This thing isn't going to work, but there you go. Beastmen.
Hey, it stands up. It's probably very small in your picture-in-picture, but boom. We're going to drag Beastmen. Boom. There it is. F tier.
So, okay. Beastmen have terrible army rules. Their ambush is terrible. Everything in their book is an overpoint cost. It just doesn't make sense. Their lore is the worst lore in the game by far. Like, not even like a small, it's the worst lore in the game. Now, they do have some positives to this army. All of the malls are still available, so you can totally buy them and get into the Beastmen.
They're cool.
They're cool models. They're cool models. I'm gonna be playing them soon, very soon.
I guess that's
Their
kind
chariots aren't bad. Their core.
of right.
Now, there is some end time stuff that makes the book significantly
That's true.
better. But as a whole, just this book, it's the bottom tier. Now, we said for a long time Tomb Kings might be the worst one in the game. But after acquiring a bunch of models, we have learned that they're not, like, there are ways of playing up a little bit.
Right, I think that was partly skewed to the collections that we were playing with so long that was very limiting until you get a bunch of archers. So that
Yeah,
kind of
we learned it was better. So I wonder if after playing with Beastmen for a long time, adding new models, maybe they're not as bad. But
that's true.
Today, this is the worst army in the list for us.
All right, but before we move on from F tier, I think we got one more. Do we?
I don't know. No. There's only one F tier.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
There's only one F tier. It's just the Beastmen.
All right. Well, Beastmen, you are the only F tier.
Well, let's just move on.
D tier.
D tier, and then I think everybody knows 2 armies that are going here, and I would love to know, like, if you would pause the video and comment right now what you think the next worst army is. We had a big discussion, and ultimately, my opinion on this changed recently because it would have been the other one, but instead,
Ding, ding, ding.
it's Bretonnia.
Bretonnia, the oldest book.
The oldest book.
The 6th edition holdout book, an 8th edition.
Yeah.
It is.
The only one that didn't get...
the Bretonnia.
Okay. So, it was really good in 7th.
I can see that. It was
real good in 7th. It was pretty good in 6th as well. But all the changes to Cav really hurt this book. Now, that's not to say you can't win with this book. We've seen it on the channel numerous times.
It does have a lot of awesome synergies, but I think you have to rely a lot on the synergies you do have.
So yeah, again, it's one of those, if we're playing 8th edition, no comp, no special characters, even though special characters in this one aren't that good. If we had a big Warhammer mini wargaming tournament, we think this one would do worse than the next worst book. That's it for Bretonnia. It's not a bad book, and that's, if you think about it, like, it's almost, we got one F tier, and then D tier only exists because this program has D tier.
Yeah.
Because we have a large mid tier.
We do.
And it's just below mid tier.
Gets kind of chonky in the middle, but it does have friends in D tier.
Yeah, it's got, obviously,
everyone knows what we're gonna put here. Tomb Kings.
Now, obviously, as we were about to say, I would have put this as bottom tier
even
a few months ago. But learning how good they can be if you have the if you have the War Sphinx and the archers, this plays 8th edition better than Bretonnia does,
right?
In our opinion.
Yeah.
Now, they still have a terrible, terrible lore. Oh, you know what? Is that worse? No, it's not worse.
No.
It's better than the lore, the
Wild. Yes.
Because this can give you a big aura of reroll the hit, extra attacks,
killing blow,
and award saves.
So
it's not a great lore.
It's not. I mean, it synergizes. It's supposed to synergize.
It works well with the book if you have the models for
exactly, right? And yeah, I think that's...
Now, for those who, I'm going to talk comp for 2 seconds.
Yes. Okay.
For those who, like, I know all the tournaments comp to Beastmen and Tomb Kings for a lot more points than did for Bretonnia. That is something that was weighed in and factored in our opinion, but ultimately that's where we lined it up.
Yeah. I think our recent Tomb Kings collection growth has changed our opinions.
True. Now, here's the next question. The next book, you already know what it is. You put in that D or C?
I think this.
It's Daemons of Chaos.
It's Daemons of Chaos.
Where are we putting it? Where are we putting it?
I think it goes to C.
I think it goes to C, so we're already in mid tier. I agree. So,
I just don't think that it's necessarily in the same comparison as the other two. If we're talking about brackets,
we've agreed on the order, and we pretty much know where everything's going. But yeah, we're already in mid tier. Demons are a book where, again, there's a particular almost everything is available to buy. Everything's available to buy. There's a couple of really good lists, Nurgle themed, that can do very well. But we're taking the book as a whole. The Reign of Chaos table, it's not interesting enough and too random.
Yeah, it does more damage to you, even though it is kind of impactful. But like, you think it should do more?
And then we have to factor in 8th edition here. This is a game of war machines. Your general is a big monster,
Yeah.
and you cannot get him a 4-board save.
And I think that was one of the biggest deciding factors.
That's why it's as low as it is, or else it'd be a lot higher because not unstable. Yeah, no, unstable.
Demonic instability.
Demonic instability is actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, it can definitely have its moments, and then the ability to roll double ones is, I guess, outweighed by the ability to roll double sixes on that check. So
that's swingy. Those are double ones and double sixes. Yeah,
that's the thing. The swinginess, the unreliability, the lack of access to the basic weapons, the magic weapons too.
I originally had this higher up in my tier list, but when Colin pointed out, yeah, we're taking this as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has to unfortunately go a little bit lower.
Okay, and then the next one up. I think this might be a surprise to some people.
It's the Orcs and Goblins.
Ding, ding, ding! Orcs and Goblins.
Okay, C tier. They're average.
Lots of war machines.
They can definitely win. They have some good lists. War machine spam.
Infantry is fairly cheap.
Infantry is cheap. Also, animosity is not great.
That's the big thing.
We have one of the special rules in the game, army special rules in the game that don't help you.
Again, it
rarely help you.
Comes down to the randomness, right? It's an army that at the end of the day you don't have 100% control over.
Your animosity rule, your army special rules more often hinder. Like, they can rarely help you because they roll at 6 afterwards. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's an army rule that actually hurts the army. But it's thematic, and I gotta believe that because of that army rule, that everything's a little cheaper in points than it would be without it.
And I think that's it, right? Because of that, you get the ability to spam those little war machines, those spear chuckas, the rock lavas.
You play many different styles of army with this. Not a lot of the models are available anymore.
That is true.
But
because all the goblin stuff's still available.
Most of not the goblin wolf riders.
Okay.
Savage orcs. You can still get orcs and goblins to play very effectively by savage orcs as your core.
Okay.
All the goblins, night goblins are still available. They're quite good. You can play giants are there. They're not great, but whatever. The war machines you can't get. Like war machines are your backbone. War machines you can't get anymore.
Okay.
That's the big problem with the orcs and goblins if you want to try to get into them now.
Mm-hmm.
But they can play up a little. They're not winning any. If we were to hold a mini wargaming tournament, this army's not going to win.
No. But I think the person playing it is going to have the most fun.
But like I would have I think a higher chance of winning with orcs and goblins than any of these other books.
I agree.
All right.
I agree. All right.
We're going to stay in. We're still in C tier because they're slightly better, but not much better.
The army that everyone thinks is the mid tier is actually not the mid tier.
But it is.
But it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
The Empire.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, this is the kind of, when you think about armies that follow all the rules of the game, the kind of basic, quote-unquote mid-tier doesn't really have a lot of its own crazy rules. It's the Empire. They do magic, okay. They've got pretty good armor. They got pretty good war machines. Your infantry is...
They are literally the jack of all trades, but not the master of one.
Not the master of one.
Yeah.
So because of that...
And their army special rule, the detachment thing, doesn't work in 8th edition. Like it doesn't make sense.
No.
It doesn't fit into the theme. Like it doesn't work anymore in 8th edition.
That's the thing is you start out by you have that massive detachment special rule, which unless your opponent forgets, which even that they'd have to fall for charging a bigger unit that then get countercharged. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. And then you suffer from super expensive magic items as well, being one of the first books there.
And fewer than... Well, yeah, a couple of good ones, but fewer than the average.
Yep.
But like basically how we did this is Empire is so mid-tier that we use this as, when we're making our pile, is this better or worse than the Empire? And then there's happened to be more books better than the Empire than worse, even though they still feel like the mid-tier, but they're not in the exact mid, but they're in mid-tier.
Yep.
Because there's a bunch more books to add to this ranking. Now, the next one, are we leaving C tier? Are we going to B tier yet?
I think we remain in C.
Interesting. This is one area where I would say the next one goes to B tier, but I can see the argument for C. So we'll keep it C. It's the Wood Elves.
I only say this because of the finesse and the scale required. Okay, come on. Go in the right place. It didn't go. There we go. Now I put it in the right place.
The weight is falling out of the pile.
We didn't really think this plan 100% through
at all.
But here we are. 7 books in.
All right, Wood Elves. They were the last book to be released. Rules as written, some of the rules don't even work.
I think it
was never FAQ'd.
That was
they're arrows.
That's my two things. You got weird arrows that everyone knows how they're played, but everyone doesn't know how they're played. There's a weird argument of, is this how you do it? Is this how it's
There
supposed to
has
be
been
done?
because basically arrows are enchanted items, only one per army. Blah blah blah. We don't have to get into it. Now, this is not an army. It's easy to get. The miniatures are too rare. Your core is gone. You can't get in this army now, really.
Yep.
Um,
But I think this is also one of the harder armies to play.
one of the hardest armies in the entire pile here to learn,
if
if
not
not the
the
hardest.
hardest.
Now, once mastered,
I think it moves way up.
if you master the army, you get master the movement phase, playing the game. This moves up the list. But I mean, the fact that they're glade riders are ambushers, and you can't deploy them, kind of dumb. The list has a few things that are a problem, and that's why they have to stay around mid. But like they can go up.
I think they're right on that cusp because I think a lot of the times people are going to be playing them lower. I think a higher majority of people playing them will be on that lower end of the bracket than the higher end.
Yeah.
Is my only thought. But moving up from there, we get my namesake book. We get the Dirty Rat people.
I thought these guys would be higher up the list than they are. It didn't work. It didn't work.
It's okay. They all got to hear me scream.
So we're gonna have to switch the weight in a second. But for now, okay, Skaven. We're finally hitting B tier. Now here's the problem with Skaven. And dice can just mess you up.
Oh my goodness! What a wonderful book that just hates you.
Okay, so they have amazing magic that was never errated to follow the rules for Magic 8th edition.
Yep.
Scorch against elite 20 mil base models is crazy OP.
Definitely not as good against 25 mils.
It's significantly weaker. Yeah, you're right.
But even against Chaos Warriors, I can do some work.
It gets some work, but like it's really good against 20 mil bases. Once you hit 25, it's not. It's just too accurate.
Mm-hmm.
You have that Doom Rocket. I mean, it's random, but it can destroy armies. You have cannons that blow up into a blast and destroy, but everything backfires.
Everything.
And it's like, okay, again, we're not going to talk about, as we said before, we're not going to talk about a particular list because there's a list that you do extremely well. Colin has obviously never done it. It's just you bring nothing but Skaven slaves in large blocks. You walk into the field and no army can get through it. Yeah, like it's too many wounds to get.
It's not, and then at that point, it's not fun per se.
It's not even Warhammer anymore, so there's no you don't want to do that. But we're not talking about one particular list because that one particular list we can rank. I don't know. That would be one of the higher up lists.
Yeah.
But as a whole, if Skaven didn't have their backfiring things, it'd be a lot higher in the list.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think if you try to just take everything at raw stats values, they have they have definitely some boosted stats. They're definitely a bit chunkier, a bit beefier. The strength always seems a little higher, but your leadership is always your downfall.
Which is strange because they technically have the highest leadership. They're almost always 10 until they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then everything falls apart.
Strength and number special rule is really, really cool. It's super unique. I really dig it. It's very thematic. They are brave in big numbers, and they are cowards when they don't have the numbers on their side. I love that.
I think it's fantastic, and I think the B tier. I think it's a perfect slot for the first section of B tier.
All right, so here, hold this for a second. I got a plan. This is coming out. Don't look.
Don't look at it.
It's coming in.
We're putting in the old books.
And then we're gonna pull out this. Yeah, we'll get more weight there. We totally thought this out. Sorry, our camera is on the fridge above us. We don't have time to fix it. So, next one over.
Lizardmen.
B tier. I thought they'd be higher.
This one was probably, I think, the hardest for me to put where it was supposed to go. Just because it's so magic focused.
Yeah.
That obviously it can be pretty random if you have a bad miscast on your slan.
The slan in a unit you can lose the game on a miscast.
Yep.
But every army can.
Right, and that's it.
You have solid everything. If you want to start Lizardmen, everything's available.
Yeah.
You have solid troop choices in your strength, toughness, force, source warriors. Terrible initiative, but who cares? You have a really good skirmish troop choice, skanks and blowpipes. Amazing. You have really good wizards, slant. Amazing. You have dinosaur type war machines where you have the salamanders. Amazing.
The salamanders.
So good. I had to stop bringing them. Tons of stegodons, just solid monsters. And then you have
even your ability to cast spells from your slan through your skink.
It was better in previous editions, but yeah,
it's just cool. It's just cool.
I loved everything about the army, but ultimately, it just wasn't as high as we went through the other books.
Yep.
So yeah, you want to start Lizardmen? All available. Fantastic starter armor. Oh, cold-blooded, freaking fantastic.
What a rule! Like that's.
In fact, you should be playing Lizardmen.
I honestly, for how badly I roll leadership, that's the army I should play.
You put up.
Bum, bum, bum. Vampire Counts is next. So I believe this is our last. Is this the last?
Last B tier? Well, we have no, yeah, we gotta be in. That's last B tier.
Yeah. So Vampire Counts. Oh boy, do you ever like to never make a panic check in your life?
Now this one's interesting. I actually thought this would be higher as well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny where things have landed, and I would have definitely thought that I knew that this was definitely like top quarter. I just wasn't sure where, but
Blender Lord's solid.
Oh.
A few solid magic items in the cloak.
Terrorgeist, Screaming.
Terrorgeist. The Scream list doesn't really work that well.
Not the Scream list, but just the Scream and it as a monster is probably one of the only really good monsters.
So I need to show up with this army because I am the world's worst Vampire Counts player. I lose so often with them. Look at this pretty well. There is a couple of really powerful lists we don't do. It's basically the Horde of Graveguard, which he does, with the Blender Lord, which he does, but the rest of your points are spent in like ghosts and ethereal stuff.
Yeah.
So Luca refuses to bring ghosts, like Spirit Swarms.
Right.
That really helps the list a lot. Now the thing is, a miscast, like you can't have your general be the wizard. You always need 2 lords. If you don't play end times, it's harder to squeeze it all in. Mm-hmm. So you can either not have your wizard a lord and be down on magic, which you can't do. You need magic on the dead, or you're spending a lot of points on characters, and you're really reliant on magic. If you have bad rolls with magic phases, you just can't do anything.
I will also say this is one of the armies, even Skaven too, that's very susceptible to the random deployment game scenarios as well.
Yes, Dawn attack is rough for Undead.
Right, yeah, just getting outside that general bubble so nobody can march.
You can, I'm pretty sure, make Vampire Count lists, right? Like you can buy everything you need. You have bigger models, you have to like maybe fiddle with the bases a little bit, but skeletons and zombies are all available. Black Knights are available. So it's an army that you can get into right now. Not as easily as Lizardmen, but you can get into them right now.
Yep.
You want to go ahead and throw that one down?
All right, so
okay, we are now going on to A tier.
The first A tier list. So if we were going to a tournament, I think we'd consider these armies.
These are armies that
if we had to go to like a competitive tournament.
Yeah, even a mini wargaming house tournament, these are the armies you're gonna see winning it.
Yeah. So first up, we got your stat monsters, your warriors of chaos.
So this one kind of goes against our own theory here of we're talking about the book as a whole, not list. Now, single list, this is the competitor for a really top tier list. Mm-hmm. But as a book as a whole,
it's a big book.
It's a big book.
Surprising.
That's why it's hard. Like, okay, so you have a ton of stuff, but your troop choices, your chariots, they're actually really good. Your warriors of chaos, amazing, and your marauders, they're actually your weakest thing. But any other army would love to have those kind of stats
for sure.
So
for sure.
And then they have a lot of really good monsters like the Chimera. Not that expensive. You know, breath attack and regeneration. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of the best monsters in the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You have a Hell Cannon that's also a monster.
Oh my goodness.
You have artillery that you can't charge because it's going to eat the crap out of you.
Yeah, the Hell Cannon's great. What else is good in that book? There's just so much.
Their marks are really good. You can specialize into a bunch of different things.
The fact that you could really.
Now there are bad things in this book. A lot of this you can buy all the stuff too for Warriors of Chaos, like the
Mutileth, Vortex Beast, and the Slaughter Brute.
They're models that came out for this. They're
really nice models.
Sure.
I wish they were better because they're really cool and you don't get to see them on the table often.
I dig their fast cav and their Marauder Horsemen. They're not the best fast cav.
Corby's chariots are cool too. I like the look of those. Their demon princes are cool.
Their demon princes are broken.
Their demon princes are.
You can make them damn near unkillable and they are unbreakable.
Exactly.
They're not unstable. Their demon princes are. That's part of the thing. Like there's a thing where there's a gentleman's agreement when we play Warriors of Chaos. We just don't bring the demon prince. He's not a good time.
Right.
He's too good.
Yep.
So solid 8 here.
Yep. Boom bam.
Dwarfs are next.
So you I guess the opposite of like the big beefy guys, the little beefy guys.
Yeah. So everything we said about Lizardmen or Warriors of Chaos solid stats, that's right here. Mm-hmm. Only now it's on a condensed smaller base, so you get tighter in. Maybe you get less taxes against you, and you get more tax back if they have bigger bases. Your
armor is some of the best in the game.
Highest base leadership, highest base armor, no magic to speak of.
That is maybe probably one of their biggest weaknesses is the no magic.
I mean, mobility is their biggest weakness.
Yes. That's why I was like, it's probably one of them.
Yeah, but they have some amazing war machines,
Oh.
organs, cannons, gyrocopters.
The ability to put the magic runes on them to just buff out any way you want.
They're an army that if you just sit in the corner with a bunch of shooting, you're not going to have a good time against because they're just going to kill you as you cross the table. And then if you get there, even their shooting infantry is really good in close
Right,
combat.
and when we talk about those tournament comps that used to exist, like there were certain things in those comp systems that forced you to move because of this book.
Yeah, because you sat in your corner, you just auto win.
Yeah.
Now, there are higher win rates with some other armies, but this is an army that one of the armies that can autopilot. Low skill, low experience, low tactics get you a win. And that's why this book is a solid A tier. That being said, a skilled dwarf player can do also amazing things. You can play more than just the boring gunline way with this book.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if you have a full Slayer army, you're probably going to lose, but man, you have a good time playing with it. So dwarfs, solid A tier.
All right, and go.
We're getting down to the last three. I think people know where these are.
I know. There's 3 left. So before we leave A tier, we've got the Ogres. Ogre Kingdoms. My least favorite army in the game.
So this army is
Talking about low skill.
No, but it's true. I mean, but there's both ways on it, right? This army is one of the most unfun armies to play against. Widely considered. I mean, it varies from meta to meta, but like most commonly, this is the most unfun to play against. It can play up and it can play down. To be fair, but
it's got a lot of stuff.
But a lot of armies can play up and play down. The problem with ogres is they struggle for the mid, so they can play up. And they can play down, but they can't play here. So it can be it's a bad gaming experience for somebody. Either the ogre player has to play way down that he can't win, or he has to play up where it's probably not great for opponents. There are certain armies like half the bottom tier stuff can't even do like a game against them.
It's brutal because it's not.
It's monstrous infantry.
It's not even a game because they're gonna walk. They're gonna spend half the board at you and then charge you next turn.
An ogre gut bus, exactly. These keep walking at you. Ogre gut bus, when you play them, there's only one or two things you got to do. You have to ignore the gut bus and kill everything else and save as many points as you can, or you ignore everything else in the army and try to kill as many as the ogres as you can.
And try to whittle that down and actually be able to remove it.
The amazingly frustrating thing about this book is it's so okay. We never even see it in games. I'll get them painted up when I get my ogres done. But like Stonehorns and Thunder Tusk are really cool monsters. They're just your points are better spent on.
You don't see the scrap launchers often.
No, you don't see any of that kind of stuff.
Cannons are too good.
They have cannons that are just
mobile
chariot cannons that are monsters.
That roll 2 bounce dice.
Really good Mornfang Cav. A lot of really good things.
You get one of the best redirectors in those cats.
Yes. Now the main reason why. For the veterans out there, like, guys, they're not that good. They're not that good. Well, there's a thing in tournaments. Is probably why you're saying that is they are heavily countered by Purple Sun.
Yes. Of course.
They have a couple of amazing magic items. The Hellheart and the Mob. Is the Mob Enter?
The Mob
Hellheart. It can it's frustrating. It's magic heavy armors. We don't have to explain it. The Mob Banner. You just put a big old banner on your unit. You can't be targeted by spells.
Yep.
It keeps that gut bust running across the field. And to be fair, ogres have had a hard time in the past. They were really crappy for a long time. But the core rules of 8 is what makes them really good.
Yeah,
it's the monstrous
infantry.
Their frontage is a lot of attacks.
There's so many attacks, and the fact you have to kill 3 wounds before you take away 3 attacks, and it's not 1 wound per attack.
Their lore, they can get regeneration on them. Stubborn.
Yeah.
Their lore is awesome.
Their lore is sneaky good.
I love it. I think it's my favorite. The most powerful lore I think is Dark, but I think it's my favorite lore is the Maul lore.
I can see that.
Now, so to finish my thought, Purple Sun doesn't target nothing. It just shoots right through them and destroys them. And if you're playing ultra competitive, you're going to have people with Purple Sun. You're going to have death magic on the table. That's where they fall behind competitively. Even not even competitively, tournamentally. Because any army in the game can take them on if they're wizards level 4 with the lore of death and just throw the Purple Sun at them. Yeah. And the ogres are going to lose.
Yeah, at that point, it's a game of can I miscast it? And can you dispel it?
Yeah.
Right?
So they have a huge counter, keeping them out of S tier.
Yes.
But for them to stay out of S tier, you have to use the most overpowered lore in the game. But ogres, solid army.
Okay.
Now, this is the interesting.
Everyone who is sitting at home knows what 2 armies are left.
And if you've been watching my live streams, you've heard me debate with you because I couldn't figure this out. Cullen and I had a long conversation of which army would be next.
That took us the longest time.
And Cullen, I can't remember what it was that convinced me, but Cullen changed my mind. So many of you already know what's next then because they changed my mind.
Dark Elves.
Dark Elves.
Oh no, I just ruined it. I'm so sorry, everyone. Oh no, I've ruined it.
You can see it right there.
I know.
I'll talk about Dark Elves by Colin tries to fix this.
I didn't ruin it.
The Elves. You know what? We're here. We might as well do them both. We're here.
Literally, actually, you know what?
Dark
that makes
Elves
the most
and
sense.
then High Elves are the
But like
number one.
only slightly.
Now, these are the S tier. These are the best of the best. They can do everything. Shooting, even though shooting sucks. Magic, we both do it very well. Close combat. They even have reasonable cab. Competitively, High Elves can do some things. I was debating. I'm a High Elf player, and I know I'm biased, so I'm thinking Dark Elves are better. High Elves versus Dark Elves. Dark Elves have an edge.
Yes, because you have hatred.
They cancel each other's always strikes first, but hatred works against the High Elves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember we said not named characters. We add named characters to the equation. It gives them a run for their money. Alariel is the most overpowered broken thing in the game.
Yes.
We have the Banner of the World Dragon over here.
Yep.
Super good.
Very good.
Over here we have the Witch Elf Death Star.
Probably the best unit.
Probably the best Death Star in the game.
Yeah.
That's why I want to put them above them.
Yes.
But I think Colin's point was we're talking about the books as a whole. So as a whole, we have Blackguard, Phoenix Guard. Phoenix Guard a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Executioners, White Wolves. In my opinion, White Lions, a little bit better. We have Valerian Reavers, Dark Riders, a little bit better. Lion Chariots, Cold One Chariots, a little bit better. Yeah. So just at the end of the day, Frostheart Phoenixes, Chimera,
Dark Black Dragon?
Hydras,
yes.
They're better.
Yeah.
So that's what it came down to. It's like they have a lot of mirrors for each other. Overall, slightly better. But without Alariel, I think this wins. I think this wins every time without Alariel.
Yeah, I think
these two armies fighting.
Yeah, with these two armies against each other, for sure. I think they both have always strikes first.
Oh, Great Eagles.
Yeah, I was gonna say they both have always strikes first. They have unreal magic. They have access to both
the best lore in the game.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dark magic is the best lore in the game.
You have dark magic. You have high magic. Both really good. That nobody else other than I guess Lizardmen have access.
Lizardmen have high, but nobody else has dark. Oh, sorry, Widows technically do.
I guess sure, because they're also
dark magic has a debuff spell that also helps kill the unit because they're big nuke spell. A bunch of damaging things. Dark magic, I just love. It's my favorite lore.
Oh yeah. Again, like you've got fast cap that have wizards, which is fantastic. Oh man, like these books are scary. When you go up against one of these two armies, you gotta bring out your A game. And I do think that. Do you think Dark Elves can play a little lower
than High Elves?
Yeah.
No. Okay, High Elves can, if you play all your points in the core.
Oh. Well,
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Whereas Dark Elves play all their points in the core. So here's the thing: the Dark Shards. Yeah. Some of the best core in the game. They're just multiple shot crossbows, and then they can have bleak swords.
Yeah.
So that pushes them over the edge. They can have swords, which is parry instead of spears. Yep. Which the High Elves can't do.
Oh, because you're stuck with your
right.
Spears.
I'm stuck with the spears. Now, when you go to the elite stuff, the Phoenix Guard are a little bit better. The White Lions, this is debatable. But the White Lions, in my opinion, are better. Mm-hmm. It's when we get to the elite where things start to... No, Swordmasters, probably not so much. Maybe we should compare Swordmasters and Executioners. But, like, I think Executioners are better than Swordmasters, but whatever.
Because then you have... Because there's Shades and you have...
Shadow Warriors.
Shadow Warriors, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, two very similar armies. Two very similar playstyles. They are, again, armies that aren't easiest to learn. S tier for a reason. You have to master the movement phase in the game, but once you do... Yes. Yeah, these are very powerful armies.
You make a mistake, you get punished because your troops are expensive and frail, and you can't handle it.
Except for Phoenix Guard.
Well,
they're just expensive.
They're supposed,
but not for what they do.
They're supposed to. Aren't they like 1,000 years old? Super old.
All elves are.
You're all 1,000.
But the Phoenix Guard, they cause fear because they don't make noise in combat. Whatever. So
sure,
there is our ranking. Let us know if you agree.
Yeah,
Remember, this is our opinion from our experiences. The rankings will vary from
you guys.
People.
Have your own discussion in the comment section down below. I want to read that. I want to see what you guys have in store for our opinions because I feel like you guys will have some thoughts on our thoughts.
Now, the next big question is the next video. Do you guys want me to move into the End Times book, or is that just peeling off a scab? Is that opening up an old wound? I need to know.
Does he go back? Does he go back in time? Does he review some other stuff? Does he review?
What do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to hear?
Does anyone have a copy of Time of the Hellish Horde?
Oh, Tamerkan Horde.
I do not know, but that book.
Actually, no, I was talking about that in my live stream the other day. Somebody's gonna send me a digital copy, I believe.
Oh, sweet.
If that hasn't happened yet, somebody send me a digital copy. Yeah, I might go into that one. But what's everybody's thoughts about End Times? Not gonna all get butthurt if I review it. No, I'm kidding. Some of you guys don't like it. I might anyway, unless there's a big outcry of no, don't do it. It's not gonna happen.
Don't get near it.
All right, Colin, what do you think? You agree? It's all
yeah, no.
one F tier,
one
two
F
D
tier,
tiers,
two
and
F
then
tiers.
look at that. It starts to get wide there and see.
Yeah, honestly, like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Over how many years do these books span?
I really thought vampire counts. I'm trying to really look at the screen now, you guys. I thought vampire counts, Lizardmen would be higher up on that list. But ultimately, when you look at the ogres, the dwarfs, and the warriors of chaos, yeah, the ogres are slightly better.
Yep. I think I don't see a lot to nitpick at this, but I'm sure you guys will. So.
Yeah. Oh, do it. I love to hear your opinions. And Cron 1, you there? I'll love to argue with you. Tell me why I'm wrong on something. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week. Happy wargaming.